Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into something really strange happening in the fast food industry, a part of the economy we always thought was completely immune to financial pressure.
Okay, so let's get right to the central mystery. With all the economic uncertainty out there, layoffs, high consumer debt, you'd think that the demand for cheap, quick food would be going through the roof. But weirdly, the numbers are telling a completely different story. For decades, the rule was simple. When times get tough and people's wallets get thin, they flock to fast food. It was a sure thing. But lately, we're seeing a total reversal of that trend, and it's pretty surprising. And this isn't some small blip. We're talking about the giants of the industry, like McDonald's, reporting numbers that just don't make sense based on history. The very thing their business was built on, being affordable when people need it most, seems to be falling apart. So, where do we start our investigation? Well, the most obvious suspect is the price itself. And here's the paradox. Just as consumers are getting more price conscious, these brands have been getting more expensive. And this quote right here, this isn't some Wall Street analyst talking. This is what you hear from actual people. It perfectly captures that feeling that the whole point of fast food, that cheap, easy meal, is just gone. This number is really the key, 2x. Over the last 10 years, the average price of something at McDonald's has literally doubled. That's way faster than the normal rate of inflation for everything else. And this table just drives that point home. It really shows you the sticker shock. Remember when a McChicken was on the dollar menu? An easy, thoughtless purchase. Now, at over $3.50, you actually have to stop and think, wait, is this even worth it anymore? But here's the thing. Those price hikes are really just a symptom of a much bigger problem. To understand what's really going on, we have to look behind the counter at some massive changes to how these businesses are even run. You have to get this one crucial idea. McDonald's isn't really in the burger business. It's in the real estate business. The restaurant itself is basically just a tenant whose job is to make enough money to pay rent on that super valuable piece of land. And that puts incredible pressure on franchisees to jack up prices. So what we're seeing is this complete transformation. They've shifted from being these fun community spots designed for families, with a playground and the ball pit, to becoming these sterile cookie-cutter boxes built for one thing, getting delivery orders out the door for DoorDash and Uber Eats. And the data completely backs this up. Their new target audience isn't families anymore. It's young adults, the demographic that's way more likely to just order from an app instead of going inside. But here is the ultimate irony. As they become obsessed with efficiency for delivery, the fast part of fast food is actually disappearing. The menus are getting way too complicated, and they can't keep their kitchen staffed because, well, a lot of people would rather just do gig work themselves. So it sounds like the whole industry is going down the tubes, right? Well, not quite. There is one company that's bucking the trend, and their success is a massive clue about what everyone else is doing wrong. So get this, while most of its rivals are shrinking, Taco Bell is seeing some serious growth. And why? They're attracting all the customers who've been priced out everywhere else by just sticking to the original playbook. Give people a ton of calories for not a lot of money. And they're not even trying to hide it. The CEO of their parent company came right out and said it. They're winning because they are specifically targeting the low-income customers that their competitors have basically abandoned. So when you put all the evidence together, you can't avoid the conclusion. This whole situation is way bigger than just the price of a burger. It's a huge flashing warning sign for the entire economy. This McRecession, as some are calling it, shows that the very foundation of the fast food empire, people who are short on both time and money, is crumbling. They're now so financially stressed that they can't even afford the cheapest food options available. And that is a deeply, deeply troubling sign. And if you're thinking, well, why don't they just cook at home? It's not always that simple. According to census data, a full 9% of households living below the poverty line don't even have a properly working kitchen. The reality is actually even darker than that. A recent survey found that more than a quarter of people are now skipping meals entirely because they just can't afford groceries. Not dieting, just skipping meals. And this is where things could get really scary. We're looking at a potential feedback loop. These companies are some of the biggest employers in the country, mostly of low-wage workers. If stores start closing down in large numbers, that could set off a huge unemployment problem, which means their own customer base shrinks even more. And that brings us to this final, pretty chilling question. When fast food, the most affordable and accessible food out there, becomes a luxury that a huge chunk of the population can't afford, what are people supposed to do? It's a question that forces us to look at a much bigger, much more uncomfortable economic reality.